When we talk about Minecraft, we talk about how it's completely changed the landscape of sandbox recreational gaming, and how these talented artists have created so many illustrations of their builds, one more unique than the last. Like floating islands filled with life and wonder tells a story of how they came to be, with vines draping down to the once known land it claimed as its own, or the deepest of darkest water metropolises cramped with futuristic technology that makes us question if this will be us in a few millennia, and many more works of art that captures originality and hard work these amazing people have created. But this does not just include what artists have technologically built within the game of Minecraft, but mostly built with this decade-old game. When this blocky paradise was first announced, it was nothing more than just a few light green grass and grey cobblestone blocks making up a flat world. Most of us at that point were just cracking on with life, learning life lessons of how you should not ask that girl out in that specific way, or even a select few of us learning their first words or taking their first steps. Of course, at that time we would have never known what blocky potential this game had to offer, but now with many years of experience, up hills where the game had to combat the mainstream media or find its footing, and the downhills of certain choices come to a point where we can all just enjoy a flat road, where choices are in the best interest of the community, and updates are jam-packed with more opportunities of creating memories of serenity, laughing with friends, showing off your mediocre knowledge to a bunch of newbies, and many more specific and engaging moments targeted towards you, the player. But with all these original pieces of art from what people have created in-game and out, we wonder, why can't I recreate these cherished memories again? Will I ever be able to recreate the excitement I felt when I found my first diamond, or when I hear news of a new update bringing life to the once desolate waters filled with gravel? This is where Minecraft exceeds more than any other game. Minecraft builders do not just get inspired by new, original, and unique ideas, but they also get captivated by already existing ones. There have been many Minecraft recreation building projects that have completely amazed the audience in more ways than one, just to the sheer size or detail and planning put into it. For example, one of, if not the most ambitious project that requires thousands of players around the world to come together is the one-to-one Earth-scale build hosted by Pippin FTS. Essentially, what these teams of players aimed to achieve was to bring people together around the world to either, with a group of builders or by yourself, build famous landmarks like New York, Washington, London, etc., or just their local town, and bring it all together onto one Earth. On March 21st, 2020, there was a video released by Pippin FTS called The Earth in Minecraft 1-to-1 Scale, which I'll leave in the description. Cultivating over 11.3 million views as of the 1st November 2020, it is truly astonishing how one building project can get so many people involved. For example, when looking onto the 1-to-1 Earth project Discord, there are currently 216,000 members, and within those members are teams of builders, of which there are 6,000 plus. Specialising in building massive cities, mountain ranges, icy and scorching hot landscapes, etc. Now, 6,000 plus builders do not seem like a lot compared to the other 210,000 members, but have you ever heard of a Minecraft project that took 6,000 plus members and will not be remotely done until decades in the future? I didn't think so. Having these numbers in mind, it really does show how the community can come together, especially when it comes to gaming, and for that game to be Minecraft, it is extremely fitting. But this doesn't just include what people have made in-game, but outside. Recreation does not just mean copying something, but also making it anew. This sandbox game has real-life benefits, for especially people working in construction, or around that field for example. Because it is a sandbox game, it can be extremely useful for architectural drafting, and can be even more efficient because of its extremely accessible resources through creative mode. It can be a lot less costly, as most of these drafting projects have to take up a lot of resources, like wood and especially time, but where in Minecraft you can build to your heart's content with extremist or minimalistic design to really portray what you wanted to build. The game already confirmed that each block is 1 meter by 1 meter, so it is already on its way to real life drafting. A prime example with the UN Habitat and Minecraft collaboration, with the footage and info from their most latest video containing this collaboration, is back in 2015 they had began work in Kosovo to redesign and recreate a part of a local neighbourhood, with the game Minecraft as main source of architectural drafting. This area was very cold and unsafe in the eyes of the residents, and stood against what the community around it had believed in their town. So, what they had planned to do is to make this unsafe area into a warm and bustling atmosphere, not just for the residents, but also tourists. And once realised, they had began work on planning this area and how to make it more livelier. The game of Minecraft wasn't used by professionals already in this field for decades, but for the community members, and more specifically children, to use as a way to express what they wanted in that area. They used Minecraft to express their artistic freedom, and many had come up with amazing recreations to make this area more lively, that when introduced to these architectural planners, was actually built 5 years later. This really does convey that the game of Minecraft has so much potential to recreate what was once known as a desolate area of conflict to a bustling community. It cannot be dismissed as a game that people just play for fun, as there's literally an educational version. But when talking about these recreational projects, the segment would not be fulfilled if I did not have any experiences of my own. Currently, by the time this video is out, I should have announced the project I want to embark on, which is recreating on a near 1-to-1 scale Clash of Clans, the mobile game in Minecraft. This journey will be a long one, as I hope by the end of these time-lapse videos, I would have produced each level of Town Hall and all its defences, resources, etc. It is this real feeling I haven't properly felt when building in Minecraft. Normally you would have this amazing, original, planned out idea somewhere along a mystical or medieval style, but it has already been built within a whole other game. The process of designing each gold mine or town hall is extremely rewarding, as you have successfully plotted something from a whole other universe into this blocky world. It can be said that it holds the same feeling when you have successfully copied a windmill from a picture on Google into your farming project. But one clear standout is that a project of recreating something has a very clear start and finish. There's no more to build or design unless the game you're inspired by, for example, adds anything new, in which then your project lays within the other game. So, for however long Clash of Clans will be thriving, my project will be as well. And in some scenarios, this could be incredibly sad, but within fewer, it is a clear and welcoming goal, way off into the future, and that, once built, I will be content that everything will be created. Minecraft is a sandbox game, built around cubes, as anyone would tell you, but what this game does so differently is being able to create with those seemingly limited number of blocks. Each block is so different and unique than the last, that so much can be created or recreated. Not only do original, non-copyright builds exist, but recreations of them as well. We all remember that moment where we watched a Minecraft YouTuber show off a building or redstone design, and we thought, I would love to recreate this in my own survival world. And we did! And whenever you showed off to your friends, they would sometimes say that was from X YouTuber, wasn't it? Minecraft is a game, that game, where plagiarism can actually happen. For example of this happening, not so much to copying someone else's build or redstone design, but a plugin which is equally as valued. 3dvirus, the YouTuber, within his video Spigot MC and Plagiarism, remembered a plugin way back in his early days that he designed. This plugin idea he was very fond of, in which it was having floating items on a slab as a showcase of what the person wanted to sell. You would click on the slab and customize it to, if you wanted to sell a cactus for example, you can sell it for £5 in-game money, and then if you wanted to sell it to the person, you can set it as 3. This plugin was called Ultimate Shops, and it was only commanded by admins to ensure that the whole server does not become Shopified. But the whole thing was blatantly ripped off by a person in which 3dvirus withheld the name of, rightfully so. This person would advertise this Slabo Spigot MC plugin as a free version of Ultimate Shops in 3dvirus' own Discord. The website it was on was a match-to-match same as the original website the plugin was on, with a few things changed. But most importantly, overall, it was generally worse than the original, but because 3dvirus had some trouble sending it to the 1.16 updates and it was getting delayed, the copycat was actually getting good reviews. Spigot MC was also actually supporting it, but over time deleting bad comments and comments from 3dvirus, etc. The code to the Slabo plugin compared to the Ultimate Shops plugin, might I add, isn't the same, so it wasn't a full rip-off, but how it is advertised is as important as the thing itself. But, disappointingly enough, from what I've seen, this Slabo rip-off of Ultimate Shops is still up after everything. From the video 3dvirus has made, to the review bombing, which I do not support 3dvirus doing, but I can understand where he's coming from, and also the community response. If you want a more in-depth view on the situation, I'll of course leave both videos in the description below to the Spigot MC and Plagiarism video, and also the showcase to Ultimate Shops. So, I encourage everyone to support original creators and having a look on these videos. But do note that the situation does not seem like it will be resolved, so we can only gain from this and say that this should not be supported, and for future reference, ensure that whenever making a plugin website, that everything is from their original creators, not copycats. But this just shows that Minecraft, that game, a game where plagiarism can actually happen so easily. From top of my head, what game can do that without actually having a lawsuit involved? Of course, plagiarism is bad, and always crediting the people that needs to be credited is essential, but what happens if we run out of quote-unquote original ideas? The definition of plagiarism is, in quote, the practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and passing them off as one's own. But maybe you are inspired by a content creator and want to include a design that they have made into your own masterpiece you have built. Do you just put up a sign saying on the wall that this is X design? Well, of course not, that will break the immersion and scuff it up. So how does one jump through this hurdle? Well, these questions I'm here to answer with my own ideologies, but I encourage you, the viewer, to answer this for yourself and question what will be your approach, because this does not just include what is in the game of Minecraft, but the grueling world we live in right now. This is a common occurrence where individuals do not know how to credit one's work, and it leads to a lot of connections being blurred or cut off in general because rightfully is shady. So keep this in mind whenever you come to this problem in real life. No, I am no life experience therapist, as I'm only really 17, but from personal experience, it is nice to be credited for what you worked so hard for. Nothing in this world is original in my eyes. Everyone is inspired by one another in one way or another. So when we talk about Minecraft buildings, designs, etc., they can either be consciously or unconsciously inspired by, for example, a YouTuber you watched many years ago or yesterday. So, no, you cannot credit everyone involved in your thinking process, but whenever you're pulled up on it by a friend or a random, definitely give the individual you're inspired by a little love and credit them, because that's so much more commendable and respectful than saying that everything you had built was yours. But if you can't remember that person, do not feel that should be scrutinized, because we are human and we forget things understandably. But if you were inspired by that person truthfully, it wouldn't be so hard for you to forget. And yeah, it is a lot of work to make a dedicated wall to all the people that you were inspired by, but this example is for when you have made something that is blatantly obvious who it was by or the inspiration behind it. But the point is, don't be that one jock in the group that keeps on flexing their muscles, but all that is in those muscles are copious amounts of synthol. But how do you deal with a situation when you're on the other side of the coin? Instead of you being inspired by somebody, they are instead inspired by what you've made. Before I continue, this content creator I'm about to mention dared to go back on his word, to go forth with this plan, thankfully, and is back to supporting people recreating this type of content. But it still majorly stands as an example of how not to deal with this type of situation. The 100 Days Survived series on YouTube, the Minecraft community would have all seen, and the person to make a massive impact on popularizing this trend was Luke the Notable. This content creator thrives off this type of series, as you could probably see by his videos years ago, from 100 drops to now 100 days. For quite a while, and still is, luckily for us, this type of content is free reign, and all content creators were given this idea a shot, and before anyone knew it, they were making content about it regularly, with smaller channels blowing up because of it, as they had their own twists and turns on it. Especially for their fan bases as well, all was well. But just very much recently, Luke the Notable came to the absolute ridiculous decision to trademark the 100 Days Survived, so that anyone who makes this type of content will be going against his trademark, essentially giving Luke the right to take legal action against them. It is extremely disappointing from somebody of that platform to even think about stripping away a piece of content from the Minecraft community, because he popularized it. Everyone is allowed to enjoy each other's content, and if that person making the content find enjoyment and the ones watching enjoy watching them put a twist on it on an already popular trend, leave them be. So let us take MCC for example, as I feel they handled this type of situation incredibly well, especially with how creative and how much people enjoy what they make. Obviously people would want to recreate it, as they are inspired. What MCC has done is they actively encourage people that want to recreate something that is theirs. However, all they ask is for you to keep it private and not release it to the general public, and also at least differentiate it enough from the original so that people don't get it mixed up. For me personally, it is such a perfectly reasonable response that you cannot argue that they are taking all the rights from people, using their own work and making their own twists on it. That is what I think anyways, but like in the example just said, there can be legal ramifications for what you've just copied, instead of just your reputation being at risk. With the examples I gave, they were not stamped with the official "this is copyrighted" sticker, and even in the case of Luke the Notable, it was quickly removed after backlash. But, especially in the case of already established companies with their own original content, they will have this trademark sticker plastered around like you've given a 5-year-old a pack of sticky notes. But thankfully, most people stand morally high, not wanting this mindset, or just too preoccupied with other matters to start a lawsuit over a game. But this doesn't stop some people from getting quote-unquote justice. Before carrying on, I'm no lawyer, and to be honest, I think the best of people will have their tongues twisted when it comes to copyright law, as from my research, this stuff is completely out of date, especially in times where social media like YouTube and games like Minecraft are out and making their rounds. These governments really do need to have a full-on revamp to these legislations, in my opinion, because it could really save a lot of content creators and builders the hassle of getting into unnecessary lawsuits derived from these money-hungry copyright infringement goblins. Of course, copyright infringement lawsuits do not come out of nowhere. So, for example, if you're a YouTuber and have recreated a 1-to-1 replica scale build of the Star Trek Enterprise ship, like the YouTuber Halkan has been working on for over 9 years, he and you can be susceptible to getting into a lawsuit because of that build. I will be leaving a link in the description to Halkan's YouTube video. I do implore you to give it a like, as it is a literal masterpiece. And also, all resources I used to obtain this information will be in the description as well. But back on track. The reason why this ship could lead into an interesting lawsuit is the ship itself can be considered as derivative work under US law, essentially meaning that it goes under the same copyright that is attached to the film itself, Star Trek The Next Generation. What derivative work means is, in quote, an expressive creation that includes major copyrightable elements of an original, previously created first work. So, yes, the company behind Star Trek can, if they wanted to, get into a lawsuit because of your build, for that example, but thankfully, so far, there has not been any lawsuits done to any Minecraft builds in my research, but they are still susceptible to it, as, for example, the author of Harry Potter books, J.K. Rowling, a controversial figure, saying that Gandalf was actually gay throughout the Harry Potter movies, sued an Indian community group for breach of copyright for $50,000 because they were making a rather large replica of Hogwarts with paper mache. Luckily, this ridiculous claim was dismissed, of course. You can build whatever you want in your Minecraft world. I do understand that me making this segment of the video can be distressing for some, or put people off building, but I want to emphasize and encourage that you can build and share whatever you want. It is your right as an individual to express artistic freedom, but being educated in these fields like copyright law, even if they are clearly out of date, is the most adult and smart way of going forth with any sort of plans like this. It does not even have to be related to copyright, but anything in general. It is better to be knowledgeable than not, because I know one thing: if I did not know about these subjects and the risks, my recent trailer on my recreation build of Clash of Clans, I would have been a huge hypocrite. But let us step away from all these lawful shenanigans and get on to the next chapter. The relationship people have with the game of Minecraft is astonishing, as even myself can say that this game has rekindled my love for fantasy, childlike wonders, imagination, etc. But what Minecraft does with this is it keeps it alive and actively encourages anyone of any age, race, religion or disability to come back to their roots and just have a little bit of fun, with a blocky game that is always trying to include the minority and the majority. But most importantly, the game does not become stale and worn over this decade-long period, but the exact opposite, as in each venture a Minecraft YouTuber or player does, it opens up a new avenue or way of playing. Like the Dream SMP for example. Beforehand, SMPs were all about survival, building and shopping districts, and getting a plethora of YouTubers together. But what Dream SMP has done is that they took this already popular formula and made it into a story with wars, relationships, deaths, etc. that now everyone wants to roleplay in their Minecraft worlds with. Which, we all have to admit, we all roleplayed when we were younger whilst playing Minecraft. But as we got older, we discard this trait, and now that it's come back full swing, it feels kind of nostalgic in a way I cannot explain. But this isn't all the community has made over time, as there is now literal hundreds of built-in subsections of the game you can count yourself in and identify yourself with. That wasn't intentionally planned by the developers. Like, for example, there is the creative builder, survival builder, role player, speedrunner, achievement hunter, mini-scale and large-scale designer, triad PvPers, redstoners, map artists, or even people like me who look into the game of Minecraft a bit too much. But what I'm trying to get across is that Minecraft always has something to rekindle whatever playstyle you loved or still love, if that be a builder or PvPer, especially nowadays where the world doesn't seem like it used to be, and the child in all of us just wants to get into a fantasy world and play make-believe, with them building a castle and having skeletons as guards. It's important adults, young adults, and teenagers have this opportunity to do the exact same in our own ways, and for me this is what Minecraft does so well. Most people want change and updates immediately, and some do not. But think about being a Mojang higher up and having our responsibility to make sure that this childlike wonder and imagination does not get completely obliterated by the vanilla game becoming overly saturated or too monochrome. Minecraft's simplicity, in my opinion, is what captures the audience, and if Mojang went about their way not thinking about how updates could ruin the experience of finding your first diamond or building your first house, it can be incredibly detrimental to the game and to the community. Our relationship to the game doesn't just span a few months after its release, but also its entire decade it's been here for. So what Mojang are dealing with isn't just a bunch of new players, but extremely old ones who remember its roots like the back of their hand. I have been playing Minecraft for at least 7 years. When I was first introduced to it by an incredibly old friend, he had shown me a custom survival island video from the now YouTuber You Always Win, which back in the day they were called Dumb and Dumber. It was so memorizing to me. Its sandbox nature, the simplicity, and its art style being so basic as it was and still is only 16 by 16 pixels. So for me, as a child I loved the game, as when you were a child you tend to love things that you can play make-believe with. And I still love playing it now, with a layer of aging mixed in of course, which in turn makes me think about the game from a different perspective. But like I said, what Minecraft does so well is still being able to capture the same feeling I felt all those years ago with every new update being released. Each new feature, and its ability to create new and exciting things with those new features. Either that be for the redstone community, the building community, or even discover new ways of PvPing for the PvP community, and many more. This game is something I can proudly say that I play, and have played for many years, and I can also say that the game rekindles many childlike wonders and imagination that no game would ever be able to recreate. Hey peeps, this is the outro, weirdly enough, and I just wanted to say, if you stuck around to the end of the video, truly thank you for watching. This video has taken me a bit too long to make, and I'm glad to see it finally done. For the standard plugs though, I stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/Flopsy, as well as have a Discord server, which I'm trying to build a little bit. But aside from that, have a good day or night, and I'll see you later.